What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gotians. Welcome back to another Dragalia Lost video, and in today's video we are going over the new 5-star fire character, Naveed, the Suave Lithomancer. And in today's video we are going to go over his abilities, his skills, and what dragons and Wyrmprints you could possibly be running on Naveed to make the most out of the unit. All that and more right after the intro, guys. Alright, so, like I said, we are going over Naveed, and he is one of the newest fire characters to drop onto our hands, and he is actually a really solid unit, especially for this raid that we currently have. The way that he's built, you can kind of tell that they made him specifically for this raid, but as a unit outside of the raid, he is still very good. Alright, he is a 5-star fire attack unit, meaning that he is built for DPS. So we're going to go over his skills and explain it a little bit, because his skills are a little bit different than what we're used to. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. So he has two main skills. His skills are Crystalline Blades and Radiant Bauble. Now, in order to explain this, we're going to go over Radiant Bauble first, and then we will go over Crystalline Blades. Now, Radiant Bauble, basically what Radiant Bauble does, it's a passive ability that you activate, and once you activate it, it increases the user's defense by 15% for 10 seconds and enhances the skill Crystalline Blades for the remainder of the quest. The skill can be enhanced up to 5 times, meaning that you stack Radiant Bauble 5 times. And the reason why you do that is to maximize the amount of damage that you do with Crystalline Blades. Now, Crystalline Blades, what it does is deals 4 hits of 170% flame damage to enemies directly ahead, and shoots 3 additional flame blades, each dealing 28% flame damage for each time Radiant Bauble has been used, to a maximum of 15 additional blades. Now, the reason why it says maximum 15 additional blades is because every time you do Radiant Bauble, it puts a stack onto Crystalline Blades, and every time you have a stack on Crystalline Blades, it adds one more sword that is used on Crystalline Blades. Did I say? Yeah, I said that right. It puts one more sword onto Crystalline Blades, up to 5 stacks. So 5 stacks gives you a maximum of 15 additional blades that it shoots out, because it now has 5, he summons 5 fire blades to then shoot the 3 additional flame blades from there. Really good ability, very good for long fights. That's what he's made for. He's made for those long boss fights, those raids, just in general, any fight that will last long enough for you to be able to maximize the amount of DPS on him. Now we're going to go over the Wyrmprints and everything else that will benefit you to get the most out of those 2 skills, because there is kind of a little trick to using him. And you know, a lot of times when people go into raids and stuff, they're saying, oh, you want to go with Dragon Prep. He's not one of those units that you want to go with Dragon Prep, but we'll go over that in a second. His co-ability, Dragon Haste. Okay, so increases the dragon gauge fill rate by 15%, and it benefits the entire team, meaning that he's going to be able to summon the dragon quite a bit, because 15% for dragon gauge fill rate is a lot. There's a lot of times where I have so much on my gauge that it's like, if there was another bar, I could have freaking summoned the dragon 3 times instead of twice. And in a lot of cases, especially for the raid fights, I can summon the dragon 3, sometimes 4 fights, depending on how long the fight lasts. So it's actually really good the way that his abilities are set up as far as the Dragon Haste. Now, obviously, co-abilities don't stack. So if you're running him and you're running Yuden's ability is not going to work, because it prioritizes the stronger of the 2 abilities. Because Yuden also has Dragon Haste, but because his is a weaker one, then Naveed gets prioritized at that point. So when you're building your teams around Naveed, you want to make sure that you have other abilities that kind of complement Naveed. So strength, HP, attack, skill prep, all work well for Naveed. Now his abilities, this is where we're getting this is where he really honestly shines like crazy. Okay, right here is, okay, we'll just go over it. Slayer's Strength is his first ability. Increases strength by 6% for every 5 enemies defeated. Now that's more for like gauntlet runs. So if you are in one of those fights where it's constant waves of enemies, then Slayer's Strength is going to benefit you more. Sleep Resistance is his second ability. Reduces susceptibility to sleep by 100%. Very good for raids and boss fights that put you to sleep. His last skill is where he really shines. Skill Prep. Fills 100% of your skill gauge at the start of the quest. Meaning that the minute that you start a quest, you're doing your skills. Which is good because you're going to be adding those stacks using Radiant Bauble to buff up Crystalline Blades. So that's why I said for him, it's a little bit different than some other characters. Now, what's cool is that because he has skill prep filling 100% of his skill gauge, you can go ahead and use different types of Wyrmprints. So you can use Wyrmprints that will raise your critical hit rate. You could use Wyrmprints that that increase your strength. That you could do Dragon Prep if you wanted to. You don't necessarily he doesn't necessarily need Dragon Prep because of his Dragon Haste core ability. You could run extra skill preps if you want to, which would benefit you for those longer fights because then you're going to be recharging your skill gauge a little bit quicker. So there's just like he's got so much viability to him because of the way his skills and abilities are set that it just makes him that kind of unit that will be relevant for the upcoming battles that and banners that they're going to be pushing through the game as the game ages. So he's one of those characters that will age slower than some of the other characters that we started the game with, and that's because of the way that they set him up. So he's a little bit future proof as far as like the immediate future of the game. So I can't see Naveed really becoming irrelevant 2, 3, 4 months down the line like some of the other units, the other 5-star units that we currently have in the game. Naveed is, you know, it'll take a while for him to become obsolete, which is actually a really good thing. Now, mana circles, I'm not really gonna go over the mana circle right now because they're making adjustments to the mana circle as of this video. It takes a lot to level him up through the mana circle. It really does. Like, you're talking 255 mana, or 255,000 mana, 73,000 Eld Water, like total materials to level him up all the way on the mana circle. So that's going to be adjusted sometime in the near future. They already announced that they're making changes to that. So I'm not really going to go into detail on that kind of stuff. The stats that I read out as far as like the damage and everything else for the skills and the abilities, co-abilities, that's on the maximum level. So if you went through the mana circle and you maximize his everything in the mana circle, then those skills and everything that I was reading, that would be applied at that instance. Overall, very, very good unit. Now, dragons. What kind of dragons are you going to be running on Naveed? Well, he's one of those units that you want to prioritize his offense. So there's fortunately there's a lot of good offensive fire units or fire dragons. So it's not that hard to kind of, you know, figure out where you want to take him from there. Obviously, Cerberus would probably be his best bet. And the reason why, I mean, she increases strength for fire units by 60%, which is insane. That is a high amount. And then her ability also lowers strength from the enemy for 10 seconds by 5%, with a 30% chance to lower their defense by 5%, making him just do more damage overall. So that's where it's like, you know, dragons like that is a good option. Now there are other ones too, like Agni will always be one of those dragons that is useful, at least for a good while, because he just does so much damage. And just like Cerberus, Agni also increases strength by 60%. Now the thing is where Agni kind of just like falls short compared to Cerberus is that Agni doesn't do any debuffs to the enemy where Cerberus does. So that's where it kind of just she kind of edges out, you know, as opposed to Agni. The other thing too is Cerberus offers an AoE attack, which is kind of like a homing AoE ability, which is something that helps Naveed in the longer scheme of things when it comes to the fights, because Agni is just straightforward. You would activate his skill, it buffs up his next 2 hits, and that's it. So kind of like he's good, but Cerberus is definitely a better option. Now, something else that you want to keep in mind when you're looking at these dragons is that Phoenix is a good option as well, because Phoenix heals. So Phoenix will be able to kind of take over the fact that Naveed doesn't have any sort of self-healing. He doesn't have self-buffs for HP or anything like that. So Phoenix can heal. Now, Phoenix will also increase HP by 30% of level 1. Level 2 by 45%, which is good, but in all honesty, you want to benefit, or you want to take advantage of the fact that Naveed is an attacker unit. So that's why you prefer to get dragons such as Cerberus, Agni, or Ifrit. Ifrit is a good option too, because Ifrit raises his strength by 45%. So there are a few good fire dragons that are good options. Now, like I said, if you want more of a balanced edge, then yes, you can go with Phoenix, or Brunhilda. Brunhilda. I don't know why I have a hard time saying her name. Not Brunhilda, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Brunhilda. Brunhilda is strength. I apologize for that. There's so many fire dragons, it's crazy. I didn't mean Brunhilda. Brunhilda. Why can't I say her name? It's weird. But, you know, there's so many fire dragons. There's a lot of different options. Now, as far as Wyrmprints go, I mentioned it before. He has such viability that you can go with Wyrmprints that it increase your critical hit rate, that increase your strength, increase your defense. You can sort of round out the character using the Wyrmprint if you want to do it that way, or you can just go straight up attack and have Wyrmprints that deal more damage on breaks, that deal more damage on overdrives. I mean, there's different Wyrmprints, but you know, in my opinion, some of the best ones for him are definitely going to be that skill haste, because you want to take advantage of the fact to be able to fill your skill rate faster to do your abilities and maximize your DPS. So, you know, a perfect example of a good Wyrmprint to do that is going to be his own Wyrmprint, which is what's it called? I'm pulling it up here. Jewels of the Sun, which is his own Wyrmprint, which would increase the skill rate by 6%, which is really good, and then HP at 70. I think that's 70%. Yeah, 70% or above increases your strength by 8%. Very, very good Wyrmprint to use on him. So skill prep is or skill haste, not skill prep, skill haste, because skill prep applies before the battle. Skill haste applies during the battle. So skill haste is what you want to go for or prioritize on Naveed just to get the maximum amount of DPS. So without further ado, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Let's have that conversation. Let me know, do you like Naveed? Did you pull him? If you did pull him, what do you think of him? Do you enjoy using him? I actually really like Naveed as a character compared to some of the other ones that I played with. Before him, what is it? Zainfried was my favorite character. I think Naveed is easily my favorite character at the moment. Plus, I'm kind of partial to fire characters. I just like fire characters in games in general, so this kind of just plays towards that, as you can't already tell. But anyways, let's have that conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and I will catch you all in the next Dragalia Lost video. You guys have a great rest of your day.